Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so sorry that I'm late, but you guys know how things go. I've been, as I'm sure a lot of you, transitioning into what I think we have just had, which I'll explain here in just a few moments, a major shift. I mean, a major paradigm shift. And as we're going through these kind of phenomena and anomalies together, it's good that we talk to each other and share what is going on within our lives, what we're seeing, and how it is affecting us on what we're seeing within other people around us in our skies energetically, in our toroidal fields, our Merkaba field. The every one of those tools that are in each of us that we have in order to navigate and have our experiences and our expansion. Now, first, I'm going to start I'm going to go over very briefly the last few streams that I have done over the past few days. And it's basically, I'm wanting to get into the constructs and start tearing away at the constructs that are out there that I know a lot of us already see through. A lot of us already know that they're constructs, but they're there, and by addressing them and taking closer looks at them, then we can perceive what it is from within us that we need to do to be the change that we want to be. I picked, of course, the two topics that we've been told since birth that you don't talk about, and that is religion and politics. So I dove straight into the deep end and apparently ruffled some feathers. Then I also did a stream about remembering our experiences, remembering our own journey and where we were in the beginning. As you know, all of this is going on simultaneously. And as I'm going to explain here in just a moment, this huge paradigm shift that we have all went through as a collective, why it is important that we remember our journey that we've been through, remember our beginnings, remember the confusion, remember how lonely we felt, scared, because things were happening that we're like, oh my gosh, this is so off the charts. It's off the charts. You start having dreams, and then you start walking through them a few weeks later. You start to have visions. You see things. When you're praying, then you then meditate. You get answers. You may have had what some call a Kundalini awakening. Other people call a Holy Spirit baptism, and these tools and gifts that are within us all are coming into our awareness, our understanding and understanding. And then as we're walking this path out together, it's narrow because it's unique, divine, just for you. But we don't want to stop. We don't want to stumble, and we want to always keep pressing forward. There are several stumbling blocks along our journey, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's why I want people to remember what you've been through to get where you're at today, because people that are waking up or popping awake right now, that will help us show patience, compassion, love, and understanding, because we know, because we've been there, done that. The next one was on symbology, and how like the television uses symbology, things we know already. It's just kind of like tearing away at this this narrative, this paradigm, and getting down to the actual truth of what this place is, and how different tools and different things are used as control mechanisms for us to believe it and then therefore reflect it out into the macro level. Okay, The one that I did yesterday was on extremists. And I'm going to tell you guys, okay, I had that one thing happen to me, but that wasn't what I was talking about when I'm talking about crimes and things of that nature, which of course we know that that's not in us. We're not, when you're walking this path out, you don't want to hurt anybody. But don't mistake our pure heart and love for weakness. We're not weak. This journey is not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things that we overcome in this journey. Well, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But the extremist or idealist, when you get stuck into a polarized position, whether it be from religion or political, whether it be for pro-life or pro-choice, any polarized dividing position that divides people. And as we just dealt with just recently, the other day, the protests came up into our part of the city. Our city is made up of 4 small cities that have now condensed into one large city. The area in which I live is very quiet, calm, peaceful, and people here are generally good and kind to one another. We're lucky. I had a friend that was here. She was with her fiance, and I grew up with her down in SoCal, and she had come up here, so she knew what area was good to move into. It was, safe, especially bringing my children with me. Okay, we had the protests came into our neighborhood, and I want to tell you guys something that's pretty phenomenal in itself. The protesters all gathered, 75 in total. 150 neighbors showed up. And it wasn't to stop them from their freedom of assembly. It was to stop them from looting, breaking, or destruction of property, violence, or anything or misconduct towards other people. When I'm talking about extremist ideology, I'm talking about factions of people that are in their mind justified 100% by their own convincing, and will use a platform, megaphone, or any means possible to divide people and to try to pit people against one another, to cause disruption, disharmony, and dysfunction. The protesters were walked about 1.5 miles south of our area, and as they were being walked, more neighbors gathered, and I think my husband told me there was 450 in total. By the time they had they walked along the neighbors walked along the sidewalks on the sides of the street, and the protesters only could occupy the street, not letting them near any property, private property, or cause harm to anybody else. The police did show up and disbanded the protest, but nothing happened. No damage, nobody was hurt, nobody was harmed, and they dispersed. Now, that's phenomenal in itself. Now let's get to this shift, okay? So now we've caught up on, I'm trying to get down to, unveiling and getting to the root of the narratives, the delusion, and I think we're actually, if you go by scripture, we're at the point where those will call good evil and evil good, and that's shocking. That's really shocking, but that's here nor there. That goes with the extremist ideology. And also, when I was talking about extremist ideology, I'm really careful on YouTube because they're so picky. But it was talking about Charles Manson, how he put himself out of a position, and those people went out, and although he was not at the scene, he was charged because he put himself in a position and at a higher elevation than his followers, and therefore they went and did some pretty heinous things, and he did get punished for it. And Jim Jones, or let's even think about the polygamists, where they live on a compound, and the all of the people go to work and they give their paychecks over to the one that would be called the prophet over all of the people. They live in poverty, he doles out the funds, and he lives very rich and a full life with jets, whatever, those are the things I was talking about. If anybody took anything that I said as it was about you, then I suggest that we also did a live stream on twisting in your thinking, where you take everything and think it's about you. Okay, now let's get into this shift now. All right, starting June 2nd in the evening, I pulled it over to the white screen so I could see you guys now. Hey Fifth, how you doing? Hey Pre. Let's see, we got Emily and Janice and the Red Pill Paul. Okay, hello everybody. On June 2nd into the 3rd, we started going through a phenomenal alignment in the skies that then ended on the, well, I'm not saying it's not ended. I think it's tapering down now because the energies are slowing down. But then on the 5th, we had a strawberry full moon. And how has this affected us? Well, people's masks are dropping. People's weaknesses are showing. People's strengths are showing. We're able to see, discern, and I am so grateful for the community that we have and how we all work together and share the information that we get, the gifting and the observations that we have with one another, so that way we can glean from each other, grow, and understand when a anomaly like this, as significant as this one. And I'm going to explain why I think this one is so significant. People have actually, people that I would talk to on a normal basis, their personalities have completely changed. Now, I'm not talking my husband. My husband and I walk side by side. I'm talking about other people that I would interact with have completely changed. Now, I don't know exactly how this phenomena works. None of us do. Is there the possibility and probability that when we go through these major shifts or rifts, if you're ready, you move. If you're not, you stay. We still will see an avatar walking around and about, but they're not exactly going to be the same person. They'll know you, but they're not going to know you, and they're actually going to show you things about themselves that will possibly shock you, because you're thinking about the one that you just knew, and now you're dealing with a completely different person. It's a very strange phenomenon. How many of you guys have dealt with that yet? Have you been in contact with anybody that has completely shifted to a completely different personality, where they're completely opposite of what was going on before? It's like it's a shell of them. It's the lights are on, but nobody's home. It's very strange. And then another thing that's been observed is people going into these boxes, program boxes, which is something that we've understood for a very long time, that we're coming out of these boxes and we're breaking free. We can actually use the Bible for this. Are you the child of bondage that was from the slave woman, or are you the child of promise from the free? Are you Do you feel like you owe servitude to pay a price that was paid for you? Or do you understand that there was a promise and you're that promise? It's such a profound understanding of the growth and the expansion and the awareness to see these things going on in people that we thought we knew. um, makes you ponder on what I mean, talk about Mandela effect. Where are we now? I mean, we've moved. I know we've moved. The people around me are not the same people. It's so odd. I've walked away from a few people because they are not the same people. They're not. And this change has all transpired from the second, June 2nd, at the night when we started to feel these energies. Actually, I started feeling them like maybe a couple weeks ago, and I actually, I am so sorry if I just blow your ears out. My dad's trying to call me. I'll call him back in just a moment. A few weeks ago, I started sensing like something was off about one of my friends, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was like, what is going on? I sensed something. But that could have just been a precursor to this major planetary alignment that we just had on the 3rd. And I have to say, the person who spoke about this the most was Raleigh. Raleigh came onto every platform that he possibly could and voiced this planetary alignment and actually predicted this phenomena, gosh, almost down to the day. Oh my gosh, my hairs are standing up. Ooh. Okay. And since then, things went tick, 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 tick. I mean, and if you were prepared for it, you're still walking in that peace. You're still okay. You're fine. If you were not prepared for it, then that wave just kind of washed over you, and it's just, I don't know if somebody can put something in the chat what they think. I mean, where are these people? Where is their active consciousness? Where are they? Where is their unique divine sovereign being? What happened? I mean, this is not something that just happened to, just a few people. I mean, there's a lot of anomaly, phenomena, people jumping back into boxes, of the narrative paradigm, and it's like they're fading off into the distance in our lives. It's just very strange. And I often say we walk away from the things that no longer serve us. Okay. And that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that in a way of being greedy or selfish. What I'm talking about is if somebody is lifting themselves up above you, trying to rob you of your sovereign, your freedom, your rights to be, your rights to express, and to express out unconditional love to, all your brothers and sisters, without prejudice, and somebody is coming along and trampling on your sovereignty and rights when that's what you're showing out. Your fruit is showing that, and their fruit is showing, trying to say, no, you're wrong, down. You don't have to put up with anybody abusing you. You have the right to get up and walk away. And so I have walked away from several situations. I don't tell you this from the hip. I tell you this from my own experiences and the growth and the growth spurts that you go through when you walk away from things that are holding you back or dragging you down. Because there's one thing that we all know for sure, is that nobody can do the work for me and nobody can do the work for you. We all know this is an inside job that we all have to do for ourselves. But we do share what we've got going on within us, because when people step into this, it does break down fear. just to know you're not alone in this, and there are people to talk to. And even when you talk to people that have been through this or been through what you're going through, they're not going to hold a position of authority over you. Okay, because your sovereignty, your journey is, what the heck is all this? Okay, hang on. Is it's yours. Nobody can do this for you. It's called a narrow path for a reason. Go away, I say. Darn. Pop up. I had a Zoom conference call with family, and I'm getting pop-ups. Oh. Yeah. No. Anyways, so that is the one thing that we all do know for sure, that nobody can do the work for us. There's a lot of stumbling blocks, and when the gifts open up within you, you feel special, you feel enlightened. But I'm going to tell you, until we humble ourselves, we can get stuck in a haughty position, and we will stunt our own growth. And when you stunt your own growth, you will stay there until you're able to overcome that, see the equality in the divine and all your brothers and sisters. Then you'll continue on. And it doesn't happen like click click. I mean, things open up, along the way, and eventually you start to look at everybody seeing that spark in their eye as an equal. So I'm sure Fifth has got some information, because she's an amazing sky watcher. So on this alignment phenomena that happened on, I think it was on June 3rd. May have started on June 2nd, middle of the night. The energies went to a higher resonance. You may feel extra tired or extra energy. It depends on how your body handles the frequency and the changes that we're going through. If you need rest, your body's asking for rest, rest. If you are hungry, eat. If you're awake and full of energy, be active. Do what your body is asking you to do, because there's not a one size fits all for what is going on. But this was a huge move that we went through, and you can look at let's see, I think Dead GPK got a real good footage of that strawberry full moon that we had on the 5th. Now, it didn't end with the strawberry full moon. This shift is still continuing on at this moment. We're still in the midst of it. We haven't settled into the destination yet, but we're observing what we're seeing as we are moving, and it's breathtaking and heartbreaking at the same time. I mean, it's like, whoa, I mean, amazing. I missed the beginning, but yes, the division even within our community is exhausting and sad. It is. Yeah, and I don't want division within anybody, and usually division, that's why I brought up I did the stream yesterday on extremism. That's where division comes from, is when we get so stuck in our mind that we're right, that we not only can stifle our own growth, but we also stifle anybody else's growth that is listening to us, because we've elevated ourselves above others, and are claiming that we are something that we are not, when we know that we're in this together. The Holy Spirit, the Creator, God is in everything. So to claim an authority on this, it would be a mistake, because we're going through this huge one right now, together and simultaneously. So, and anything that causes division, guys, hey, if you can, take any advice from me and put any tools in your toolbox, anything that's oppressing you or causing division or community divide or hurting somebody else or, doing things like that, you have the right to walk away. I don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. And I know I walk away. I don't want no part in that. It's not in me to do it. But again, like I said, don't mistake kindness for weakness. This journey, this path is not for the faint of heart. This is a warrior's path. This is a path of heart. This is a journey that is difficult, and the difficulty level as you move through it gets more difficult, but as you move through it, you get more prepared, and as you get more prepared, you're able to handle things, that are more difficult, and you're able then to see through the narratives, the paradigms, the constructs, and start tearing away the veils. Once the blinds have fell, the veils are off your eyes, the scales have been removed. You see it for what it is, and once you see, you cannot unsee, no matter what anybody tries to tell you, what anybody tries to do to you, doesn't matter. We move past it. And we move past it in unconditional love. I'm going to tell you that's a strength. Unconditionally loving people that are despitefully using you or hurting you is a strength, not a weakness. Not a weakness. Hey, Bit of Venom, how are you? Okay, saw pictures with 4 sun dogs. Yeah, wow. Not in my reality. Wow, nocturnal clouds, given light. Yeah, I had Dead GPK and my Skies 5D on while we were looking at some sky images that I took, and you can actually see the light codes being just dumped on the people here. We call them light codes. The Bible would call it God poured His Spirit out on all flesh. I'm sure other religious texts have different ways of talking about what is going on at this present time. But, everything is new. Everything is, it's not what we expected. It's not something that we were able to have a book on with a tutorial guide of follow A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and bingo, you're there. If anything, this reminds me of, I was raised Christian, so I'm sorry if I'm using that analogy and it hurts anybody, because I'm not putting any religion above another. But it just reminds me of when Christ was there in their very midst, and they missed Him because they were busy searching the scrolls, that they totally missed the one that they had been waiting for. He was in their midst, and they didn't recognize Him. So, there's food for thought on that. By this being something so phenomenal and off the charts and unexpected, fighting against it would be foolish. But then it also says in that book that many are called but few are chosen. But that would be a personal choice that the individual makes. You make the choice on it, whether you move through this gracefully and keep growing. And with so many people sharing and with what's going on, there really isn't any reason to be scared, even though it can shake you in the beginning. But you should be able to move through it with grace and in tick-tock time. And again, back to the Bible, and I'm going to talk about a parable now. And this is the man who hired the people at the beginning of the day to work in his field. They negotiated a wage, and they went off to work. Well, in the afternoon, he saw more people standing around that needed work. He hired them. They went out and joined the others in the field. Well, the last hour, he again saw that there was people who needed work. So he hired them. They went and joined the others. And at the end of the day, the last ones that were hired were paid first, and the first ones that were hired were paid last. And the first ones were hired were angered because they said they had worked the field all day. Why are they getting the same payment as we? Understand this parable, guys. This parable speaks volumes to it doesn't matter how long it's taken us, how far we have come, that none of that matters. Somebody can wake up tomorrow and go through what we're going through and hear what we have to share and sprout up so quick and so fast, and the payment is the same. It's always going to be the same. So energetically, like right now, I am just literally buzzing. I had to go swimming. Water is my go-to place. I ground out in water and in grass, and so I will pray and meditate, walking barefoot in grass or swimming in my swimming pool. And then right before we were gonna come live, something else came up, so I again needed to hit the water. So that way I was prepared to talk about this huge shift that we are in the midst of. So if you're feeling this going on, pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to your heart, your intentions, your thoughts. Focus on things you want to see and what you want to bring about. We are walking into a new paradigm, a new time. If you notice that people's personalities have completely changed, and things, anomalies like that, don't worry. Everything's gonna be okay. Everybody comes in their time, in their season. So don't get in fear about that. It is a little shocking, and it is a little bit of a setback when you see somebody change overnight. It was like, what? Wow, who are you? So, with that said, you guys, we are in this together, in peace, unconditional love. Unconditional love comes with unconditional forgiveness, and that is a strength that we carry. That is our sword. Also, the truth that resides in you of what is going on. Understanding this energy that we're feeling, recognizing the precursors as they're coming up upon us. So we are actually doing the inner work, so we're prepared for a big hit like this to not knock us down. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So a little channel maintenance, because I'm going to make this one a short one, because I really just wanted to share this, oh my gosh, this shift. I mean, we're still shifting, and we're in the midst of it. It's not as intense. It's tapering off, but I know you guys can feel it too. It's just one of those buzzing, tingling, humming. You may have ringing in the ears, inner vibration from the inside. You can hear a buzzing, hairs standing up, feel a little electrical, tingly, light stepped. Again, like I said, either sleepy or extra energy and awake and active. But remember, we are in this together. Keep our thoughts on the things that we're wanting to see come into fruition, and that these false paradigms and false constructs come to a crumble in such a peaceful manner that everybody is taken care of, and everybody yet the least amount of suffering as possible. But the only suffering that people can possibly go through, or it would be from their own choice, by not by fighting against this or not wanting to move along. They may have a bunch of disruption and disharmony around their homestead and in their neighborhood. in their thought process. All kinds of things could be going on. She's so keep your guys' eyes peeled. Show the loving support that we have for one another. Keep sharing your testimony. Keep sharing your journey. And I am looking forward to hearing what you guys have to share about what this shift is, what you've been feeling, what you've noticed going on around you. This is just so profound and beyond comprehension. Because we are so blessed. We are so lucky. And it just warms my heart to see so many of us warrioring this out in unconditional love and forgiveness as brothers and sisters, as the one that we are. We're in this together, guys. We're in this together. So, you know, I'll be back on probably when the shift is completely over, as I am still in observer mode about, you know, things that I'm seeing that are changing around me. Oh, I did want to make some channel maintenance. I will no longer be on the Taco Tuesday show. That would be Hebrew's channel. I've walked away from that platform at this time. Things may change in the future. I don't know right now. But for now, well, I'm just going to focus on here and on the people that that I know are able to walk in this. Okay, I'm not saying this right. I'm not trying to be condescending. It's not a condescending comment. It is. I'm walking away from something that right at this moment is not serving me or treating me in a proper equality type situation. And so since I'm being oppressed, I'm walking away at this time, but that doesn't mean I will not be back. Doesn't mean I do not love him unconditionally, as I do. Okay? And I'm not asking anybody to unsubscribe. Enjoy his channel, enjoy his platform. He's a funny guy. It's just for me right now, you know, if you're expecting to see me on Taco Tuesday, I will not be there. I'm so sorry. So that's the only channel maintenance that I need to do at this time, and the only announcement that I wanted to make. And you guys, keep shifting. Feel this major event going on, and look around you at the people. See if they are the same. See if they have changed in any way. Different personality, different paradigm, different way of thinking. Look around at the structures. Like I said, the protests were just walked peacefully down the street without any harm, damage, or anything. No disharmony. They were allowed to speak their voice. No destruction, no harm, no one was hurt. And they had their assembly, they did their protest, and they were chaperoned by the neighbors. It was a beautiful thing. Absolutely phenomenal. So keep your eyes peeled for all kinds of amazing phenomena. And again, we're going to still be going through the tearing down this control paradigm matrix. I am kind of glad I got religion and politics out of the way. Those are the two worst topics. Mama always said, don't talk about religion or politics. So anyways, guys, I love you, and please have a beautiful event expanding your heart, your awareness, as we're going through this amazing, gosh, what's it been now? Oh my gosh, almost 5-6 days of a continuous high vibration shift. And I'm just calling it a shift for lack of a better word. We can feel it. It's tangible. It's electric in the air. it is so noticeable. You can feel it all the way through and through. So with that, you guys, always, always share what you know so we can all listen and grow. And I will see you Wednesday night at the Call In Share Show. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. What's going on with you? Peace.